This week on Healthy Living, a look at climate change and how it affects your health. And Africa experiences its share of hot weather as the world faces record-breaking heat waves. Plus, we'll see a unique way to address mental health issues, comic books. Finally, UK's first womb transplant offers hope for prospective mothers. That's in this edition of Healthy Living. A warm welcome to all of you. I'm Linor Moudou. Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Climate change is a phenomenon that affects the weather, the temperature, and our environment. The impacts of climate change include air pollution, increases in extreme weather events such as heat waves, rising sea levels, and warm temperatures. And these changes can have devastating consequences on our health, including the increases in vector-borne diseases and mental health challenges, according to experts. The World Health Organization says climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths per year from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress between 2030 and 2050. And people most at risk include populations in low and middle income countries, children, older populations, and those with underlying health conditions with severe implications for women and girls' sexual reproductive health and rights. We start in the Central African region, where the global changes in climate are also felt in Rwanda. Here is more with David Mutabazi.
Rwanda is experiencing the impact of climate change. Official data reveal that floods, increase in temperature, and landslides are major challenges in the small, landlocked country. There are many consequences, and the health impact is undeniable. Dr. Amil Nzayizenga is a health practitioner at the Kibagabaga Hospital in Kigali.
As a medical doctor, I believe that climate change plays a big role in affecting humans' daily lives. I can explain it this way with a recent example of the tragedies we faced as Rwandans a few months ago, whereby the citizens of Rusizi and Rutsiro districts were hit by severe flood disasters. The calamities claimed a lot of lives, and it was all a result of climate change and global warming. Many people, especially those with asthma problems, are badly affected by winter season, more than it is normally.
Experts say nature as well as human activities are to blame for climate change. They say natural processes such as volcanic eruptions have affected the Earth's climate, and with industrialization, human activities have released large amounts of carbon dioxide and other substances into the atmosphere, which has changed the Earth's climate.
Before, here in Rwanda, during the summertime, the highest temperature we're used to have been 31 degrees Celsius at maximum. But today, there's an increase of 1.8 degrees Celsius, whereby now we reach 32 or even 33 degrees Celsius in warm season. The more humankind gets developed and civilized in terms of innovation in different sectors, people have found themselves in some activities such as deforestation, which finally led to climate change problems, not only here in Rwanda, but even everywhere else around the world.
Rwanda has taken some steps to address the impact of climate change, including setting up the Green Climate Fund and supporting innovations in health and other sectors.
Dr. Rebecca Hope is the CEO of Y Labs, a California-based global design and research organization. She elaborates on the impact of climate change on women and how communities in Africa can become climate change resilient.
We're looking at a prediction that over the next decades, we're going to see 25 million to 1 billion people on the move. Now, what does that mean for young women? We know that after climate disasters, rates of violence go up against women. rates of unsafe abortion, rates of unplanned pregnancy. We estimate that over the next 20 years that 14 million women will lose access to contraception. So when we think about this, about women on the move and how we can support their health care, we have to think differently about how we're delivering health services to these people. So options like digital sex education, digital access to ordering contraception, digital self-care for mental health. Mental health is severely impacted by climate disasters and climate change for young people. So I think there's opportunities to really innovate in the healthcare space to be able to offer young people more options in the way they access healthcare. It's not a replacement for traditional health services and health workers, but I think it's another tool in our toolkit. Another option are longer-acting methods, so long-acting HIV treatments, long-acting contraceptions, self-administered contraceptions are other ways that we can support young women and minimize disruptions to healthcare from the impacts of climate change and mass displacement. Most of our focus is in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, but also in the US and Central America. And one of the things I would say about climate change is that the regions with the highest youth populations are the regions that are likely to be most hit by the impacts of climate change. They are also the regions who contribute the least to carbon dioxide emissions. So we have to plan really ahead for that, for a future where we are putting funds and planning for the long term to mitigate some of the impacts of climate change on young people's health. Right now we have many governments creating their national climate adaptation plans. What is not being paid attention to is what are the specific needs of women and girls who will be disproportionately impacted by climate change at an economic level, at a health level, at a gender equality level. So we need better planning. And so one initiative that we're really proud of at Y-Labs is a partnership between C40, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and Urban Better. This is an initiative across 20 cities, mostly focused in the lowest and middle income countries in the world. And we're supporting and amplifying young leaders, bringing them together in participatory action labs with city mayors. And what will they do there? They'll be creating a joint action plan to secure the health and future of their cities, to mitigate the impacts of climate change and adapt to the impacts of climate change as well. So C40 will be supporting the city mayors with technical support to ensure these plans transform into action. And in that way, young people's voices, optimism, creativity can be part of the solution to some of the challenges we're seeing.
The World Meteorological Organization reports that intense heat has impacted large parts of the Northern Hemisphere this summer, causing major damage to people's health and the environment. 2023 is on track to becoming one of the hottest years on record. Reports show an increase of heat-related deaths globally as temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius in many regions. Africa is experiencing some of the highest temperatures in its equatorial regions. Data from the Wise Voter Institute reveals the 10 hottest African countries in 2023, which include Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mauritania. As experts warn of extreme heat waves due to climate change, to what extent have you experienced an increase in the hot weather where you live? What do you do to stay cool when the weather gets really hot? Here are some reactions from Bamako, Mali.
The hot season used to last 2 to 3 months and is longer nowadays. The heat extends over almost 5 months and is widespread. Even the rains are less frequent than usual because in the past it used to rain after the hot season, but now there is nothing.
That's true because I'm from the north of Mali in the Sahel. The desert is advancing there with winds and sun, which makes it very hot. So we can say that this phenomenon is spreading. Meanwhile, here in Bamako, today, even going out is difficult because it is very hot and sunny. So for us, it is a reality.
Recently, we have been experiencing a lot of heat. From 3 to 4, it's very hot, extremely hot. Now we're hoping for rain to cool things a little.
Personally, I always follow the experts' advice. When it's hot, I limit unnecessary activities. I take shelter from the heat under the trees during the day. At night, I use a fan or For those who can afford it, air conditioning.
It is not easy. Even the night before last, I couldn't sleep. I went to bed at midnight and woke up at 4 a.m. because it was so hot. Even the air coming from the fan was hot. In fact, it's not going well at all. It's hard to bear, but as we are from the Sahel, we try to deal with it.
Comic books can be a great way to help people walk through emotional trauma. For VOA, Ginia Dulo reports on comics that encourage children and adults to share their feelings and address issues of mental health.
Comic book writer Cheg Lowry is the author of Soldiers Unknown, the story of 3 members of his Native American Yurok tribe who fought in World War I.
You know, a lot of stories about veterans, we don't really talk about or see their struggle when they come home. I show the challenge of one of them. You know, a lot of veterans, unfortunately, they drink. And now, you know, they'll take drugs because of the PTSD and the pain and the agony.
Lowry's comic shows indigenous culture and ceremonies, helping heal some of the horrors of war. He says that's especially important for Native American readers, dealing with emotional trauma in the context of colonialism and oppression.
They have to have the safe space first and imagery that represents them and stories that represent them so that they can share that first. And then you can delve into, you know, the painful history or the painful or sorrowful experience.
School psychologist Lorraine Garrison developed several comic books to help children express their feelings.
This one is about anxiety, first day of school jitters. My husband and I drew this book together, and it's helping kids how to prepare for the first day of school.
She also shows a stress relief coloring book and journal where children can express their emotions through coloring a bulldog. In her work, Garrison says she has found if she relates to children through their favorite comic book character, it can help with their anxiety.
The kids I really work with are special education in that area, and so that really gives a lot of children hope, because a lot of these comic book characters come from, you know, like Spider-Man, a poor background, orphaned, or, you know, Batman was an orphan. So it's easier for me to talk to children that way if they can relate or feel something when they read these comics.
Garrison says comic books can also make a difference when it comes to suicidal thoughts among school children by helping them feel they are not alone and allowing them to express what they're feeling and ask for help.
In the United Kingdom, the first womb transplant offers hope for prospective mothers to bear children. Here is more.
A 34-year-old British woman became the first in the country to receive a womb transplant, a procedure that offers hope for prospective recipients in their journey to bear children.
She was absolutely over the moon. There were a lot of tears, a lot of emotion. She was very, very happy, and the donor probably was even happier because she had some time to recover from the anesthesia. So it was a very joyous moment for everybody.
The unnamed woman underwent the transplant in Oxford's Churchill Hospital in February, receiving the organ from her 40-year-old sister.
So she's doing really, really well. She has started having menstrual periods, and that means her prospects of having a baby are very high. She needs to stay on immunosuppressive therapy and to be closely monitored, and we hope to be doing an embryo transfer in the autumn.
The world's first uterus transplant took place in Saudi Arabia in April 2000, performed on a 26-year-old woman.
Thanks for watching Healthy Living. For the latest news and health coverage, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on X at Linor Moudou. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.